In this story, From Here to Infinity, when you hear this, you can turn the page. The Earth year is 2020. Alien spaceships manned by androids approach the planet Mars. The NASA expedition headquarters there is spectacularly destroyed. The androids have journeyed from the planet Guk, and now their witch-like commander, Zelda, sets up her base on Mars and lays her plans for the invasion of Earth and the destruction of the human race. Alerted by the first alien attack in 2017, the UN High Command appointed Dr. Tiger Neinstein to devise and establish an elite international fighting force to defend the world against the unknown aggressors. This small, dedicated team is called Terrahawks. From their secret base somewhere in South America, they develop their sophisticated weaponry and prepare for the battles to come. Dr. Neinstein was not feeling in the best of moods. He'd been playing his video game again when Sergeant Major Zero, on his perch, kept interrupting with snorts that sounded like snores and tut-tuts that really annoyed the leader of Terrahawks.
Flaming thunderbolt, Zero,
snapped Neinstein.
If you've got a faulty circuit, get it fixed, or I'll pull your plug.
Sorry, sir. Closing down. Didn't mean to interrupt.
The cheeky Zeroid added,
I could get a better score.
Before Neinstein could reply, there came an emergency. Hero, up on Spacehawk, had an object on track. It seemed to be a piece of space junk, and Sergeant Major Zero and his space counterpart, Space Sergeant 101, were given the job of identifying it. They argued, to the amusement of Mary Falconer, but not of Neinstein.
1988, Venus Probe Delta. Broke down during second orbit,
said Zero. 10-0, snapped 101. Wrong design.
Russian space liner, 1997.
Tried Zero.
Moskva 3.
Neinstein exploded.
Will you two get your act together? What do we have here?
Eventually, the Zeroids came up with it. Space Probe Alpha, launched in 1999. Neinstein went white.
We've got big trouble,
he said.
That probe was programmed never to return. This means danger.
Tiger Neinstein got in touch with NASA, and a man named Johnson from the American Space Headquarters arranged a meeting with him.
It had to be secret, so...
Neinstein's Rolls-Royce picked up Johnson where a helicopter dropped him and ran him to Hawknest, the Terrahawks' hush-hush base. Not even Johnson was allowed to guess where he was going. Johnson told Neinstein about the Alpha probe, powered with a Mark 24 nuclear rocket that would, on re-entry, blow up and fill the atmosphere with dangerous radioactive material. Only Terrahawks could bring it down safely.
Where shall we direct it?
Asked Neinstein.
Your base would be the best choice,
replied Johnson.
Yes, but on one condition. Whatever happens, this base remains a total secret.
Johnson nodded and agreed to be taken back to his helicopter, blindfolded. It seemed an easy mission, but what Neinstein didn't know was that on Mars, the evil Zelda was plotting with her sister, Sistar, and her ugly son, Youngstar. Zelda cackled.
The trap is set. At last we shall destroy the stinking lair of our enemies, the Terrahawks.
The witch-like Queen of Guk stood back.
What's this, sister?
A sculpture of the monstrous Neinstein, Zelda. I made it myself.
It was crude and lopsided, but Zelda chuckled with glee as she looked at it.
Watch, sister!
She raved and reached for a ray gun. She pressed a button, and at once the so-called statue of Neinstein burst into 100 fragments. Zelda clapped her hands.
Soon, the real Neinstein will go the same way.
Her sister and her son burst into noisy, unpleasant giggles. When the music stops, turn your cassette over. On Spacewalk, Hero had welcomed aboard Dr. Neinstein and his team.
What we have to do
Said Hero.
is convert that runaway probe into a re-entry vehicle we can bring down safely.
Exactly, said Neinstein. We shall use a powered delta wing under remote control. This way, we can get underneath it to carry it down on target.
To Hawk Nest, you mean?
Asked Hero.
Of course.
It was the job of Sergeant Major Zero and his team of Zeroids to man the Delta Wing. They had no trouble reaching Space Probe Alpha, and Zero himself went aboard the Runaway. He took with him a mini-computer to steer the probe, now fastened to the Delta Wing, to get it down to Earth without trouble. He little knew that this was exactly what Zelda and her horrible family wanted.
All right, lads.
Said Zero.
Back to Spacehawk quick as you can.
The Sergeant Major watched as his Zeroids made their own way across space to their base. Then he looked around him, and something caught his eye. He muttered.
Very strange.
On Spacehawk, Hero said,
Probe will begin re-entry in 4 minutes. But Sergeant Major Zero is still aboard.
Report at once, Zero.
snapped Neinstein.
Something's not quite right here, sir.
Said Zero.
I've got this feeling that I'm not alone.
Zeroids don't have feelings.
Yelled Neinstein. Zero tried to reply, but suddenly he couldn't. His brain circuits had been taken over by one of Zelda's cubes, and now she turned in triumph to her son.
Their precious probe is more deadly than they dream. I turned it into a bomb, which will fly directly to the Terrahawks base and blow it up with Neinstein and all his crew and that idiot Zero at the controls.
Zero had lost touch with base, transfixed by Zelda's cube. Suddenly, the force of re-entry knocked the cube away from Zero, disconnecting Zelda's power. Zero fired. He missed as the cube rolled to the right. Then he fired again and destroyed it. He could hear Zelda's voice over the radio, yelling, but he ignored it. At Hawknest, Neinstein got his team into action.
Get Hawkwing Skyborne. This is a 10:30.
Kate Kestrel and Hawkeye, blasting upwards in the fighter from the depths of the lake, raced to intercept the probe. They saw it just beyond the Earth's atmosphere, and skimming close beneath it, tilted it off course. With a flick of a wingtip. It was a piece of expert, dangerous flying, but on a new course, the probe raced away from Earth again, and Hawknest was safe. It wasn't until much later that anyone thought about poor old Sergeant Major Zero. He was almost out of radio range by the time Neinstein managed to get back in touch with him.
It's about time you got out of there, Zero.
Yes, sir.
Said Zero.
It'll probably take me about 3 days to get back.
Zelda was far too busy dreaming up new ideas to get at Terrahawks to realize that just beyond her base by Mars, a small globular Zeroid was zooming its way back towards Earth and making slow, regular noises. Just like snores. They were snores, for Sergeant Major Zero told himself that if he had to spend 3 days hurtling through the darkness, he might as well do it asleep. He dreamed, too. Nice dreams about Neinstein going all to pieces without his faithful Sergeant Major at his side, and about beating Neinstein at his video game. Zero was really sorry when the time came for him to wake up and make his final approach back to Hawknest.
Calling all Terrahawks. Stay on this channel for other exciting adventures including Space Samurai, Thunder Roar, and Happy Maid Day.